So Scream 6 moves the action from Woodsboro to New York, which I thought was like a positive shift. I think that the New York setting opened up a lot more doors, a lot more creative stuff that they could do, like with the introduction of the subway and the sequence where they're crossing the ladder between blocks and all of that. I thought all of that was really cool additions. I really liked the opening that we got here with the swerve, where we basically had Jason getting basically revealed as Ghostface right from the get-go, and we were following him home only for him to be attacked by Ghostface as well, himself. I thought that was a really neat swerve. See, we then moved into continuing the Melissa Barrera's character, where she's now in therapy. An interesting note was that I noted the actor who played the therapist in it, and in the opening we had Samara Weaving as well. Both of those were in Ready or Not, so that was just a nice little kind of Easter egg. I don't know if it was intended, but yeah, I'm going for it. I really like Ready or Not. I'm really open for this. Excited for the sequel. So yeah, that was a nice little thing in there. Yeah, I never thought that I would find myself referencing Ready or Not in this review, but here we are. So yeah, I mean, I thought that like I said, there were some really neat additions here. Similar to how we got with the Halloween requel. I really liked the look of Ghostface here, where the mask just looked a lot more worn, a lot more dirtier. Like we kind of had that with the Michael Myers mask in the Halloween recall, and I thought that was really effective, and they've taken a note out of that book, because I think it just worked really well. I really liked some of this. This is a more gnarly film as well. I kind of, not by a long shot. I mean, this isn't Terrifier or anything like that, so I don't want to overstate, the up in the ante of the gore or anything. But it does certainly feel like the most gnarliest of all of the sequels. We got some a little bit more innovation with the killings, where we had basically Ghostface using the shotgun and all of that. It wasn't anything major or anything, but I thought that it was still kind of cool. It's one of the little things that maybe I would, in an ideal world, I would like to see more of in the Scream films. A little bit more innovation with the killings, and we're not just looking at stabbings and stuff like that. I would have ideally liked there to be a bit more innovation with the kills, maybe a bit more of a innovative use of the gore. But like I said, I think a shotgun Ghostface was a step in the right direction. So I thought all of that was really positive. We have a return of fan favourite Kirby here from Scream 4. Again, this was led to some really cool moments, especially one of my favourite bits was later on in the film, where she's basically playing off Mindy's character, and they're basically kind of testing each other's kind of dedication as fans and everything, and they basically both cite that Psycho 2 was one of the most underappreciated sequels. That was a really cool moment for me, because that's a sentiment that I wholeheartedly agree on. I still kind of still totally say that Psycho 2 is one of the most overlooked and underappreciated horror sequels. So the fact that this got a mention was a really cool moment. I actually think that the absence of Sydney here actually elevated the movie as well. I thought it was quite refreshing to kind of keep her out of this one. I know that that wasn't the intention, that there was the intention of her initially being in it, and she just Neve Campbell just didn't end up being in over some pay dispute or whatever. But I actually think that it actually like elevated this movie, especially with them carrying this franchise forward. I think the fact that I didn't even think there was necessarily any reason to implicate Gale into this, but the fact that obviously like Dewey was out of the equation, obviously from the last movie, and we didn't get Sydney here. I think that it made a much more focal point on the new set of characters that we have, and I just think that worked in the movie's favour. To be fair, I thought that the whole shrine of ghost faces is something that I always kind of go a little bit more back and forward on. I mean, there's something that, but I mean, I think it's kind of cool. I think that it serves the plot well. I think that it obviously leans into kind of like some the reveal of the killers. Obviously, in the final act, they kind of do this swerve where they kind of try and use Kirby as this red herring, and you know the addition of the shrine and all of that is utilized to kind of like serve those little plot points. So I think it's kind of cool, but there is something that about it that just doesn't quite entirely land for me. But yeah, I'm kind of like cool with it. Like I said, I think that there is this the one thing that maybe I kind of like do roll my eyes at is a whole sequence where Ghostface is killing Gale. I think that maybe on an emotional level or a suspenseful level, I think it does the job, especially when we know obviously like what happened to Dewey in the previous film. I think it does elevate those stakes and everything. As Mindy said, you know, that the legacy characters are just kind of cannon fodder in this. So I do kind of like feel like it added some suspense and it added some stakes there. But I just think maybe the execution wasn't great. You know, the whole constantly the fact that Gale was trying to shoot Ghostface through the doors and whatnot. I just thought that there was just a little bit another one of those moments where people in horror films just do really stupid stuff. But yeah. So I mean, the revelation of Richie's family being the killers here, I think it worked. I mean, some people have like criticized this revelation because it sounds a bit too much like too much of a rehash of the whole Loomis family in Scream 2, which is a fair point, but I do kind of think that that's kind of its intention as well. We even have like one of the killers even wearing Nancy Loomis's Ghostface costume in this. You have her reference in that, you know, and similar to how Scream 2022 kind of leaned into the nostalgia of the first one. I guess like Scream 7 is going to go as teaser, it's going to go right back to the beginning in the same way that Scream 3 went back to the beginning. So this is kind of like a little bit of like a running alongside the second one a little bit. So I do think that the whole kind of like shadowing of that the movie is kind of like very intentional on this film's part. So yeah, on the whole, guys, I thought that this was a really solid sequel, I gotta say. Yeah, like I said, I really liked the development of Melissa Barrera's character and the development of the dynamic between her and her sister, played by Jenna Ortega here. I did say that I was going to also make a little bit of a bold prediction for Scream 7 as well, so I'm going to do that. And the only reason I am pulling here, apart from mostly to get it out kind of like ahead of time before I see Scream 7, is also because it never really something that didn't really maybe come to mind until I was doing the rewatch of Scream 6 for the purpose of this review. But I'm suddenly grown more and more suspicious of Mindy as a character, right? I mean, I get that the whole role that she's played, and I guess you know, it's always always been kind of like a welcome addition for the Scream franchise and the fan base, for them to have that kind of like ultra nerdy character who kind of provides all of the commentary on all the meta commentary and all of that stuff. Obviously, we've had it with Randy, we've had it with Kirby. Obviously, Mindy is kind of like that character as well. And but it just seems to be like the way that Mindy like goes about this is so much more aggressive compared to like Randy or Kirby, where she's literally kind of like really aggressively pointing the finger at literally everybody. And then she kind of like, when she's basically going when she's relaying the rules to the sequel, to the recall, where she's basically pointing the finger at everyone, including her own love interest. And I mean, I know that Sydney did this in the original Scream with Billy Loomis, but it was only really after kind of like circumstances kind of gave her reason to maybe suspect it. Whereas here, she's just like spitballing and she's just pointing the finger at everybody, including her own love interest. But then when they kind of like turn it back on her and going and saying, well, maybe like one of you guys snapped from the trauma from the previous film, so how about that makes you a killer, and then or makes you a suspect. And she's basically like, well, because we survived the previous one, that kind of takes us out of it. There's some like really, and it just does make me like a little bit suspicious. I because with this with Scream 7 teasing to go back to the beginning, I am starting to think that maybe the way that Scream 7 pans out is that Mindy has been involved in all of this, and she has been a little bit of a puppeteer. I mean, some people will say the subway sequence in this movie kind of like debunks that, but I don't think it necessarily debunks it entirely, because we know Mindy survived that. We know that obviously, like as we've seen in the previous movies, especially with the ending of Scream. Of the original Scream, where Billy's stabbing Stu, but he's reminding him not to go too deep and all of that. But we've kind of like seen Ghostface kind of like stab another Ghostface as a kind of a swerve, and I see no reason why this could not be that as well. So yeah, I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I'm gonna lock it in, and I'm gonna say that Mindy's one of the killers in Scream 7. So yeah, come back here and we'll see if I'm right. But yeah, if I end up with egg on my face, that's fine, more protein. But yeah, I'm just kind of gonna put it out there. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up my review for Scream 6 and my prediction for Scream 7. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please feel free to let me know down in the comment section about what your own thoughts of Scream 6 are, and what your little maybe theories of Scream 7 are. What's your excitement level for Scream 7? What's your excitement? What have you got any trepidation going into Scream 7? All of that stuff, let me know down in the comment section. And as always, I will be ranking all of the revisiting and ranking all of the Scream films, as well as Scream 7, and then I'll basically be doing a ranking of all 7 Scream films, ranking them from the worst to the best, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, so until next time, I will see you guys on the next video. You guys take care.